Hi everyone, and welcome back to Beauty Beans. So today I am going to be talking all about makeup brushes. So it can be a bit of a minefield out there because there are so many different brushes on the market. Some are really expensive, some are really cheap, and it can be confusing as to what you should do with the brushes, where on the face you should use them, what sort of products to use with them. So I thought I would give you my top tips and then talk you through the brushes that are my favourites that I use on a daily basis and how I use them. So let's get started. I think my top tip number one would be don't be afraid of synthetic brushes. They used to have such a stigma attached to them and everyone would push you towards buying natural fibre brushes. I don't think that's the case anymore. So much research and development has gone into the beauty industry that now synthetic brushes are such great quality and they're really accessible price-wise. I think one of the brands that I absolutely love and I would recommend would be Real Techniques. I've got quite a lot of their brushes actually that I'm going to be talking through. They were created by sister makeup artists, Sam and Nick Chapman, and you can get them pretty much anywhere. You can get them in Boots, Superdrug, on the internet, in the supermarket, and they look like this. They range from about £5 up to £20, and they also they've created some starter kits, so they're fantastic if you're new to buying makeup brushes and you want some good quality but affordable brushes. Definitely recommend Real Techniques. So do not be afraid of those sorts of brushes. Synthetic ones are great. Tip number two would be make sure you keep your brushes clean. You don't want to be spreading germs around your face. I tend to wash my brushes properly with maybe some baby shampoo or some brush cleansing gel once a fortnight, and just to make sure that you keep it nice and clean and hygienic. And tip number three would be don't forget that brushes can be multi-use tools. So don't think that just because it says foundation brush that you have to use that brush for foundation. You could use it for contouring or, I don't know, putting on blush. I will talk about the different things that I use my brushes for because there are different ways that I use certain brushes. So I will talk you through that. So don't be afraid of trying something new with a brush if you think it's going to work. So, to go on to the brushes that I use and I love. So, starting off with my base, so foundation. There are so many different foundation brushes out there, it is ridiculous. But the ones that I really like, and this one in particular, is Real Techniques, and it is the stippling brush. And I love this. It looks like this. So it's got quite a wide surface area at the end. It's really soft. And what I like to do is put foundation on the back of my hand, get a little bit of foundation, and I like to buff my foundation in circular motion like that. So for me, this is perfect because of that surface area. Really soft, really even kind of coverage, that's the word I'm looking for. Really fantastic. Real Techniques stippling brush. If you're not really into doing circles, and then this is another Real Techniques brush. This is actually called the foundation brush. I don't know whether you can see that. And basically this one's good if you like to smooth on your foundation. Another use of this, when we're talking multi-use tools, is I really like this because it's got quite a sharp edge. I like to put contouring cream or powder on with this because it gives me a nice sharp line. Unfortunately, I don't have very structured cheekbones. I wish I did. I wish I had nice little hollows here, but I don't. I've got nice little round cheeks. So this is good for putting contouring in there and maybe under the chin. So foundation brush number two. The other thing that I've been liking recently to put foundation on with is a beauty blender, which is a sponge. It's nice and squishy. This has got a bit of makeup on actually. It needs a bit of a clean. But this one is great. So I tend to put some product on my hand again, dab that in and then dab this on. You can use it damp or you can use it dry. It's great for giving you some nice even coverage, a real smooth finish. I also find for the use tool aspect of it, it's great for blending in concealer once I've put that on. And also I like to use this little point up at the top here to contour the nose if I'm kind of going out on a night out. And you can also contour here as well. So really good. I think they're about £10. Great. If you haven't invested in one of those, they're really, really handy. Once I finish with my face and putting my base on, I then move on to my eyes, and I would guarantee that pretty much anyone who works in the makeup industry or knows anything about makeup will think that this next brush is the absolute holy grail of brushes. Holy grail of brushes, and it is the MAC 217. And that's what it looks like, and it is basically a fluffy blending brush. Absolutely love this brush. I've got 3 of them. They're all dirty, so I need to give them a clean. What it's great for is you can pack on colour across the whole of your eyelid, so if you're using that as kind of a base colour. I also use one which has got the darker on, and I tend to get a bit of a darker colour and go in that crease line there in semicircles like that, following the eyeball basically backwards and forwards. And it's really good for blending as well. So you can use little tiny circles and blend like that. Fantastic for that. Love it. I've got 3 of them. One I use for my base colour, so it'll be lighter colours. Then I've got one to put in the slightly darker shade, as you can see there on my eyes today. And then I've got one that I blend cream eyeshadow out with, so I will put cream eyeshadow on and then just buff out the edges. Absolutely love those. They're slightly more expensive, so they're just under £20, I think, but they're definitely worthwhile investment. Next up, this is one that I got recently and I absolutely love it. It's another MAC one, and I'd seen it on loads of people using it on YouTube videos, and it is the MAC 224. And basically it's just a big fluffier version of the one I just showed you, of the 217. It is amazing, especially if you love doing smoky eyed looks, because with a smoky eye, you have to do blending all the time. So this is great, really fluffy, really great at making sure you haven't got any harsh lines from your eyeshadow. Really love it. I will do a tutorial on smoky eyes soon, so I will no doubt be using that one. So that is the 224 from MAC. Love it. Once I have put on my kind of crease colour, you will see here that I've got a lighter colour that's kind of on this fleshy bit all the way down to my inner corner. And the one that I use to do that is a MAC 239, which is this one. It's pretty flat, and you will probably think that this is quite a traditional looking one. Reminds you of the old eyeshadow applicators that were kind of spongy. So it's that kind of shape. It's really good for packing on colour. So I tend to get a lighter colour and literally press it on and press it down into the inner corner like this, just to brighten the eye and to make it pop. Love that. It's also good if you've got any sort of glitter or glittery shadow that you want to press on. It's more about packing colour on with that one. When it comes to detailing, I've got quite a few little detail brushes, but these are the ones I use the most. So when I'm going on a night out, I like to put darker colour right in the corner here, because what it'll do is it'll lift your eye and open your eye up. And I use this one. It's another Real Techniques one, and this is the shading brush. Love this. Darker colour in the corner here, and then I'll buff it out with one of my MAC buffing brushes. But good for detailing, as I said. Great if you wanted to maybe put some glitter again, one of those on there. You could also use this, if you weren't using it for your eyes, you could use it to contour, using contouring powder down the side of your nose potentially, because it's kind of fine detail. When it comes to a detailing brush, this one I really like as well. So I bought this from Boots, and it was, I think, some sort of organic brush brand, I'm not sure which one, but I really liked the fact that it was flat on the edge there. So what I was able to do, or what I am able to do, is go underneath the eye like that and create some detail under there if I want to carry the colour from up at the top down underneath my eye. Fantastic as well. Then once I've done my eyeshadow, I will probably move on to liquid liner, gel liner, and I've talked about this in my January favourites, but it is the Bobbi Brown Ultra Fine Eyeliner Brush, and that's what it looks like. Really good at getting a crisp line, really like it. If you want to find out more, watch my January favourites. Once I've done my eyeliner and done my curled my lashes, I will then move on to brows. And once again, I'm back on Real Techniques, and this is the Lash and Brow Groomer. Now, this used to have two sides to it. There used to be a little metal comb on this side for lashes, but they all snapped off when I was travelling somewhere. And thankfully, I don't need to separate my lashes. I just use this for the brow side. So luckily for me, I can still use this, and it's really good. It's just a little comb, great for brushing out the lashes, the brows. Now, once I've done my eyes, I then go back to my face. So the majority of these are actually Real Techniques brushes. Surprise, surprise, because I really like them. So I will put powder on with this fluffy, big powder brush. So I will put it through my T-zone like that. Really fluffy. I love a good fluffy brush, and this one is fantastic. And then if I have to set, or if I want to set any of the concealer underneath my eyes, I use the little baby of that. And this is the setting brush from Real Techniques. So it's really small, and it's just good for being able to detail under there. Really good one. Now, Real Techniques have brought out a slightly more premium range, and they called it, I think it's Bold Metals. And they look like this. They're kind of a copper or a silver or gold finish, and they're slightly more premium, slightly more high-end looking. This one I've used quite a bit, so it's got a bit of scraping on it. But this is 301, and basically I love this for really going in for contouring, because it gives me a really sharp edge. I'm able to really go into that little hole, that little line there, like that, and round the hairline and underneath the chin as well. I really, really love this. As I said earlier, I haven't got best cheekbones, so this is how I fake it. I then, usually if I've contoured, I will have a bit of a line. So what I want to do is just buff it and make sure that it looks nice and even. So what I use, once again, Real Techniques contour brush. I love this. This is probably my most multi-use tool that I have, because I use it to blend. I will use it for blusher, like so. So on the apples of my cheeks, and just pop that on there. So if you smile, your apples will pop up. That's where you should put your colour blush. I can use it for powder if I want to. A really, really good brush. So the contour brush. And then another kind of contour brush, this is the buffing brush, slightly bigger version of that, and that's slightly harder to the touch, but it's still really good for buffing anything out, like that. And you could use that for powder as well. That's a really good brush. And then finally, the last thing, and I will only really use this on nights out, is if I put a powder highlighter on the tops of my cheekbones, but after I've contoured, or underneath my eyebrow, I will use one of these big fan brushes. You might have seen these and not wondered what they're for. The best thing to use them for is, if you've got powder highlighter, is just to dust it on the tops of your cheekbones, and you can dust it just under the eyebrow as well, just to make sure that the light hits beautifully. They're really good for powder highlighters. So those are my brushes. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope you've picked up some tips and know what sort of brushes you might want to get. If you've got any questions, please do ask. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up or a like, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day. Cheers. Bye.